Jared Verse makes the NFL top 100 players list. Sean McVay gives injury updates and an insight into the Rams linebacking situation as it appears Nate Landman is the man. All this and more coming up on the Rams Radar. All right, so we're going to start off with this clip from Sean McVay's press conference today where he talks about the Rams linebacking situation.
They're kind of flying around, making some plays, especially going downhill. Can you talk about their play so far?
Yeah, they've been awesome. I think G-Money, our linebackers coach, does such an excellent job of being able to provide those guys with clarity. But we've talked about Nate Landman. Omar Speights has been outstanding. You can see he's really taking leaps in his second.
Okay, I think it's clear that Nate, as clear as can be, Nate Landman wearing the green dot, and we saw he was in the press conference today as well. It sounds like Nate Landman and Omar Speights are emerging as what would be the Rams starting linebackers. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. Maybe there's still opportunity for Chris Paul Jr. or, we'll see.
Year has real good ownership of what we're trying to get done. Troy Reeder's always been a really productive player for us. And then I've really been pleased with what the other guys have done. Sean Dolak's done some good stuff, Tony Fields, Eli Neal. And so I think that's a really good group, but I especially, I really think those guys that have played some football for us, you feel their presence, their ownership, and that's exactly what we're looking for.
Coach. Okay. All right. So again, linebacker, it's one of those positions that has often been criticized with the Rams. They say they don't value it, they don't pay linebackers, but it's something they've put some effort into doing, right? Even signing Nate Landman and drafting Chris Paul, the development of Omar Speights. Maybe this is a year that the Rams can get a pretty consistent production from the linebacking core. I'll bring up this article here where it talks specifically about Nate Landman here, because I'll admit, when the Rams signed him, it wasn't big on my radar. It really wasn't. And maybe you're out there and you're like, oh, I totally knew that Nate Landman was going to be the wearing the green dot for the Rams, and I sound like this. But anyway, in this article from Heavy.com, it says the Los Angeles Rams are only 2 padded practice into training camp, but one new face is already turning heads. Linebacker Nate Landman, who signed a 1-year deal with the Rams this offseason, is quickly establishing himself as a key voice on defense and potential starter inside. Head coach Sean McVay praised Landman's presence this week, noting that he's already showing signs of leadership and toughness that could earn him an expanded role. And again, shout out to Nate Landman for seizing the day, right? Good on him on that opportunity. He said, I think that you're innately thrust into that when you play an inside linebacker position, McVay said on Tuesday on ESPN, Sarah Barshop. He's got a good feel. He's got great awareness and a good understanding of understanding of how to be able to positively uplift his teammates and challenge them in the right way. I love what this guy is all about. Landman's 25 years old, spent his first 3 seasons with the Falcons. In 2024, he played under head coach Raheem Morris, formerly the Rams defensive coordinator. That experience is helping him transition quickly into the Rams defensive system and expectations. Again, I really thought, when the signing happened, it was not big on my radar. I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. There's similar defensive schemes, probably an easier transition than just signing any random linebacker from anywhere in the NFL. But I love that this is something that has so far, again, we're in training camp, folks. We don't actually know how it's going to play out. But I like what we're seeing from Nate Landman, and I'm happy for him. He seems like a good dude, someone that's easy to root for. And yeah, this is going to be exciting for Rams fans that maybe, just maybe, we'll get some production out of the linebacking position, because we've seen it at times, but we haven't seen it consistently. And if the Rams are hoping to get off to a hot start next year, they need to be playing at a high level at every position. We need playmakers. And again, I really think from Chris Shula's press conference yesterday, I think this defense is prioritizing takeaways. And I think in the modern NFL, that's what you have to do on defense, right? When there's so many rules and calls that go against the defense, really having a secondary that can hold the best you can while hopefully your pass rush can, get after the quarterback, and that hopefully you have a front seven that's pretty good up against the run. And if you can generate turnovers from that formula, you can do a lot with that in today's NFL. So I'm hoping that Nate Landman is the man for the job, and I love that he's coming into his prime, 25 years young, and I hope he has a fantastic year for the Rams. All right, and this is Coach Sean McVay. He's asked about the injury status of Emmanuel Forbes Jr. and Cam Curl, and this is what he says.
Yeah, so Cam Curl, we were really fortunate. He's so tough. Got kind of his foot stepped on and rolled his ankle a little bit. We'll take him a day at a time. He'll be week to week. Forbes felt a little tweak in his hamstring, and it'll probably be a week or two with him. You can't be smart enough with some of those soft tissue injuries, especially with some of those perimeter skill players. But I've been really pleased with Emmanuel. He's going to attack his rehab the right way, and Cam Curl's as tough as it gets. And that was a bad feeling temporarily where it looked like it was going to be something, and then he's so tough he walked off, and we were fortunate to get some good news on something that could have been really tough for us, and I'm really glad it's not. Okay? Thank you, guys.
So, I'm guilty of this because I'm a Rams fan with a YouTube channel that just talks about the Rams a lot. We live in a society, especially the sports media world, where we can just overreact to everything. Everything is over-reported. And so I don't know how much concern there is for Emmanuel Forbes' hamstring or Cam Curl's ankle. But I do think that pre-internet, a lot of this stuff doesn't get reported the way that it does now. And so I think it's important to remember that in the sense of, okay, these are two players that are projected to start potentially for the Rams. Cam Curl was going to start for the Rams. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. We've heard nothing but glowing reviews that he's having a great camp, right? Like he got picked up off waivers last year from the Commanders, and the Rams seemed like they were excited to see him develop in a Rams uniform. So I am, a little sad that it's going to get cut short because I love that he was having such a good camp. I'm talking about Forbes. And I want to see him go to that next level. I would love his redemption arc, being cut from Washington, even though he's a former first-round pick. And if he would have just came in, developed into a great cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams. And that still might happen. And it sounds like from what Coach McVay is saying that he's going to have that opportunity. And we the Ramley, we're going to cheer him on. But from those two injuries, though, I do also think it's important to recognize there are so many injured secondary players in the NFL right now. Like, I feel like every team is looking for depth at corner, depth at safety, and they have some sort of injury at those positions. And again, I'm not a sports, medical professional, but maybe it's because they run backwards fast more than the average player. But definitely hoping that the Rams can go into the season with a healthy secondary, healthy defense, because as they say, health is wealth. And that's no different in the NFL when you're cheering on your favorite team. All right, our next story here, I'm just so excited about. I know that, Matthew Stafford and Kyron Williams have also appeared on this list, but I'm so excited that Jared Verse got recognized by his peers and appeared on the NFL Top 100 Players list. Came in at 53. Of course, me as a biased Ram fans think that's too low, but I'm higher. But glad he made the list in his rookie year. What they said about him on the, this is the NFL.com article. It says, the Rams struck gold in the draft once again with Verse, absolutely, adding to their rapidly growing young defensive core with an edge who terrorizes opposing quarterbacks at an obscene rate. Verse took home Defensive Rookie of the Year's honor, the second year in a row. An LA rookie was a finalist, but the first winner for the Rams since Aaron Donald in 2014. Finishing fourth in the league in total pressures and adding 12 more in the postseason per Pro Football Focus. Verse performance as a rookie put him among some of the best at the position last year, even if the sacks didn't follow, which I think that's going to change this year. We'll see. Verse even received a rousing endorsement of his uncanny talent from recently retired Terrell Armstead. Oh, I love that interview. A top offensive lineman over the last decade. After one game lining up opposite of Verse, Armstead decreed he never wanted to do so again, and predicted a Defensive Player of the Year nod in the pass rusher's future. Not a bad start to an NFL career. Absolutely. Oh man, I'm so happy for Jared Verse. I cannot wait to see what he does for the rest of his career, but specifically, this upcoming season. I think him and this Rams front four, they are going to wreak havoc on some O-lines. Hide your quarterbacks, folks, because the Rams, front line is coming for you. So can't wait. Anyway, that's going to do it for me in this episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you love talking Rams. I'll be doing a watch party for the Rams preseason games and, into the season. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. I love talking about the Rams. My one recently about the top 10 underrated players for the Rams is a really fun watch in my opinion. And as always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams. Woo!